Live from the Grand Prix Cyclist in Montreal, this is the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show.
Coming up this week, we are talking about why weight is an issue in cycling, but why there's no need for it.
Plus, we've got cycling chaos on London streets, why big miles are for old people, why Van der Poel did bite off more than he could chew, and why Denmark is investing even more money in cycling.
That, and we've got a new competition for you. A pair of Elite Drive 2 carbon wheels are up for grabs.
This week in the world of cycling, we learnt that 2 million cyclists took to the streets of London, not to protest, nor for an event, but just to get around after workers' strikes closed the tube.
AKA the subway,
Yeah.
to those of you who don't speak British. Now, it's pretty incredible, really, and the scenes look like cycling utopia, quite frankly, but some people said it was total chaos.
The Hunger Games on bikes was one headline I saw. More on that later on.
We also learned that if official podium ceremonies get cancelled due to protests, you could just make your own.
Visma Lisa Bike set up some cool boxes, a sort of makeshift podium, and then invited all the other riders to join them in their celebrations. I thought that was actually really, really cool.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I thought it was quite cool as well.
It was, totally.
I did feel slightly sorry for the riders, though, that was the podium celebration. Particularly someone like Pidcock, who it was his first ever Grand Tour podium.
Oh, yeah,
and
totally.
it looked like something out of
At least he got something.
local evening race. Finally, this week, we learned that weight will always matter in professional cycling, just so long as gravity continues to exist. And climbs, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's perhaps not as much of a thing as you think.
So professional cycling has long been a sport, really, where skinny people seem to prevail. Not all of the time, but certainly most of it. Even riders who look relatively big and muscular when they're on the bike don't really generally look that big off the bike, do they?
Filippo Ganna being a case in point, he looks massive compared to others in the men's peloton. But this picture of him off the bike shows just how skinny he still is compared to, well, certainly the general population, but basically everyone.
It is always surprising when you see them in real life, isn't it? Now, the dangers of continually striving to be as lean as possible have long been known and long been discussed, but recently the debate got quite heated when Pauline Ferrand-Prévot of Visma Lisa Bike won the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, having visibly lost a lot of weight since the earlier spring classics.
Yeah, it wasn't so much that it was heated, it was just very personal, wasn't
Yeah.
it? A number of riders in the women's peloton spoke out to say that they felt that she'd set a dangerous precedent for current and aspiring pro cyclists. Now, you can understand why there was that sentiment, right? So the potential risks to a female of being underweight are more serious, both short and long term, than they are for males. And for either sex, they're pretty blooming serious, aren't they?
However, it did also feel very unfair towards Ferrand-Prévot at the time, didn't it? And even now. So there was a rider who, under strict supervision of team coaches and doctors, trained and prepared meticulously for her biggest goal of the season, arriving at the start in peak form and then riding away from everyone, all of her rivals, in the mountains. But rather than then getting to celebrate her massive win, she was then having to answer questions about her weight loss.
Yeah, now Ferrand-Prévot is no different to many who've come before her, and unfortunately, many who will come after her. There's a good reason why there is a weight obsession in cycling, because if you can lose weight whilst maintaining the same power, then you are going to climb faster.
Yeah,
it's a fact.
And climbing faster is quite a key part to success, isn't it?
Yeah.
Particularly in the Grand Tours. That said, I would say that we are in a better place now than we used to be. I mean, there's such a wealth of knowledge out there. There are so many ways to accurately measure performance and health that, in theory, there should be a much lower risk of doing short or long-term harm by pushing things too far.
Yeah, either with weight loss or with training load.
Yeah.
So anecdotally, it also appears that professional cyclists are consuming more calories than ever before, like just literally eating more. Although part of that is it's a necessity, since they're also expending more calories per hour than ever before as well.
But as we said, all of that is planned and analysed in detail by the pro teams, all of whom want their riders to be in peak form and also peak health. Cyclists' salaries have increased massively in recent years, and the last thing that any team would want is zero return on their investment because a rider is sick or ill and can't race.
Yeah, quite a cynical outlook, but also probably quite true. I think, though, there is a wider topic here, isn't there? Okay, so pro athletes has, as you just said, incredible supervision. The problem is that normal people, everyone else, tend to hold up sports stars, their physicality is something to aspire to, and that therefore causes an issue, doesn't it?
But maybe there needs to be more of a distinction. I mean, elite sport is about pushing boundaries, isn't it? And the general population shouldn't be aspiring to emulate somebody who's pushing the limits of human performance under that strict supervision.
Might be hard to make that distinction, though, mightn't it?
Yeah, true, yeah. I'd say undoubtedly it would be, actually, when I'm thinking about it. But we can't, shall I say, ask professional sports people to sacrifice performance because they're deemed to be negatively influencing those that watch those performances. The fault doesn't lie with the athlete.
No, I get your point there. And I guess, well, when you look at cycling, there's probably a few other sports, aren't there, as well? Marathon running, maybe as well, where the most high-profile athletes can often look unhealthily skinny, don't they? Although one look around the peloton or the what's the peloton version for running?
Park run.
Park run. No, not park run. You know what I mean, though. There's loads and loads of different sizes and shapes of athletes who can end up winning, whether you are muscled or built like a pipe cleaner.
Like me.
Yes.
Maybe the point is that we shouldn't aspire to look like anybody, Si.
Wow.
Because if you look at the other end of the spectrum, which would
be like sumo wrestling.
Yeah, like sumo wrestling. Is that a dangerous precedent to set? The sumo wrestlers, for example, a bit of a tangent here. I don't think anybody should be looking at the best sumo wrestlers in the world and trying to look the same. But I also don't think that sumo wrestlers should be asked to shed a few kilos if the extra weight genuinely helps them to be at the top of their sport.
Well, yeah, I must admit, I hadn't envisaged talking about sumo wrestling when I set off to work this morning.
Well, you brought it up when I stumbled a minute ago.
I feel like I was prompted. To be fair, though, I feel like it's slightly different, isn't it, sumo wrestlers? Because I think that fewer people look at them and think that they are...
Like to be like that.
Yeah, like, you know...
We don't know because we're not in that culture.
Well, no, that is true. Yeah, maybe it is just... But do you know what I mean? There's something about being like visibly athletic that is something that appeals to people.
I think what you would be correct in saying is that we don't know enough about sumo wrestling to really pass comment or judgment at this point, so we should probably get back onto the topic where we do know a little bit about it, shouldn't we?
Yeah, OK.
The other thing that we should bear in mind is that humans' natural weight, it varies massively from person to person, doesn't it? Personally, I've always been skinny.
Yeah.
Up until now, at least. And my whole family is skinny as well. It's not that any of us are consciously restricting calories. And in some ways, we're very fortunate in that way. We can kind of eat what we want without fear of piling on the pounds. And I think it's worth keeping that in mind if you're ever scrutinising an athlete's weight.
Yeah. It is a good job that you like cycling, isn't it? Because, I mean, bear in mind how upset you got when you tried for a year to put on loads of muscle.
Yeah.
And then you managed a couple of kilos. And then,
4.
Then you lost half of it after 3 bike rides.
From cycling, yeah.
Yeah. But it is a really good point, actually. Like, I'm making light of it, but the Scottish runner, Eilish McColgan, she talked very publicly about it recently. She has been criticised horrendously on social media for being too skinny and accused of having an eating disorder, to the point where she then felt like she had to explain to people that she is healthy. She just... Same as you, she's just got a very slender frame.
Yeah, and size and shape is as much a part of natural talent, really, as his ability to develop, monster watts at FTP, isn't it? Or a Tour de France winning sprint. Just like you can overtrain when trying to get fitter, so too you can mess yourself up if you try to lose too much weight.
Yeah. So I never had any issues with eating or with my weight when I was racing full time, but I did spend my whole career wishing that I looked leaner. And it genuinely used to make me unhappy at times. And then as soon as I retired, I stopped caring about it as much.
Even I still talk about your ankles all the time.
Yeah. Talk about or just take the piss out of my ankles?
Well, we probably shouldn't do in sort of context of this subject, really, should I?
I'm
in all
right
seriousness. Well, yeah, I'm all right with being called skinny as well, although I have put 4 kilos of muscle on. Just starting to get that back on now.
Oh, are you?
No, not really.
Didn't that guy stop you in the middle of the your Manchester to London ride and say that he thought that you would have looked bigger?
Yeah, he was exasperated at how skinny I looked. I thought you'd look way bigger, having been down the gym so much. Anyway, what's also worth bearing in mind in all of this is that weight actually doesn't matter as much as you might think. Of course, being overweight does have health implications, and you're likely to feel better if you're able to shift a bit of that. But when we're talking about getting underweight, really, there are very few gains to be made from shifting a couple of extra kilos.
Yeah, ironically, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot would still have won the Tour de France without that weight loss, wouldn't you? When you look at the maths. I mean, what did you find when you put it in the calculator this morning? 10 kilometre climb at 10%.
Yeah.
1 kilo body weight difference was what, 16 seconds or something?
No, at 10% it was 22 seconds, but that was on a 65 kilo rider. But I was expecting it to be a lot more than 22 seconds over a 10 kilometre 10% climb at 65 kilos if you lost a kilo. It's not as much as you'd think, is it?
No, it really isn't as much as you'd think, yeah. So yeah, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot was just so much stronger than everyone else. But you can say that her margin of victory was greater than it otherwise would have been, having lost that little bit of weight.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Almost undoubtedly. Right, time to hand it over to you guys at home. What do you think about this whole issue? Was it overblown, or should it be talked about more?
I sort of feel like cycling's actually in a really good place.
I think it is as well.
At the minute, I think there are so many of the top riders, men and women, who just look so much stronger than they used to because they're doing stuff off the bike, they're going to the gym, because they're eating more. Like, they're still obviously super lean, super, fit, but I just think it's better. And then we've got more role models for bigger riders like Abrahamsen.
And every member of the public, professional, amateur, or whatever, has way more information at their disposal to learn and to eat the right things and do the right things than we had as pros 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, way, way more.
I do wonder whether it's just a lot of it is just, it's just crap on social media, isn't it? Like, a minority of people making comments that then makes it seem like it's a bigger thing than it really is.
Quite possibly.
Anyway, that's where you come in now, right? Because you can tell us whether this is actually a thing or whether...
Look forward to reading your comments. Just before we move on to the next part of the show, though, we've actually got a corrections corner side.
This is a rare moment on GCN, isn't it, where we got something wrong. Yeah. It's almost unprecedented.
I know. So last week, you might remember we announced that there was a new world record for cycling non-stop. It was 5 days and something, wasn't it?
Yeah, we spent quite a long time discussing the toilet arrangements for cycling for 5 days non-stop.
We did.
Yeah. A number one off the bike, eminently doable. And number two...
You reckon that's more difficult?
Well, I mean, have you tried?
Anyway, subsequent to that show, it was pointed out to us that that record was not, in fact, broken the previous week to that show, but rather 35 years ago in 1990.
I mean, it's a minor detail, but we thought we should correct
It came up in Google News.
It did, yeah.
I sorted it by last 7 days, and that was the Indian Tribune came up with that record. I don't know why, it's just recently reported on something from 35 years ago.
At least we know now why it wasn't on Strava.
Yeah, there's no other record of it.
And now it's time for Cycling Shorts.
Cycling Shorts now, and we're going to start with news that older riders cycle further.
This was something that we saw on bicycling.com, which looked at average distances cycled by age on popular cycling apps, Strava and Ride with GPS.
So on Strava, in 2023, the age category with the highest median distance per ride was the 58 to 76-year-old group at just under 21 miles, whilst on Ride with GPS, it was the 70 to 80-year-old bracket who averaged 22.3 miles per ride.
And the latter was from 5 years' worth of data.
Wow.
I guess this could well be down to having more time to ride in retirement, you'd have thought. But I didn't think that was pretty cool.
I think it's cool, yeah. I mean, especially after last week's news that hours are the most important metric for training.
True.
It should mean that we all get a nice little performance boost as we get our pensions.
Very nice. Meanwhile, 2 weeks ago, we were chatting about whether Van der Poel had overreached by trying to race the Mountain Bike World Championships this year. You might remember that.
Yeah, we concluded at the time that the odds for Van der Poel to get the Mountain Bike Worlds and join, well, it's a pretty rare club, isn't it, of Pauline Ferrand-Prévot at the minute, of someone who's won road, cyclocross and mountain bike.
At the elite level, yeah.
The reality is, though, that it was, sadly, a step too far for Van der Poel this season, anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll keep trying. I love the fact that he keeps trying, though.
Yeah, I do too.
Because he's such a champion, you can forgive him thinking, well, I don't really want to do a race where I might not look as good as I am on the road or cyclocross, but he still sticks at it. Ironically, though, his technical skills, lacking 2 weeks ago, did look good enough this time around.
It did, yeah.
It was his legs that seemed to give out instead.
Yeah.
Although he finished 29th, we think that was because once he realised that the win was out of reach...
On lap 2, out of, 9.
It was quite early on, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
From 33rd second back to 29th in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, at that point, he switched off. Although he did say at the end that he wasn't going to quit because, I quote here, Si, mountain biking is the only discipline where it's fun just to ride around.
Yeah, well, do you know what I did in my last Elite Mountain Bike World Championships?
I'm now going to guess that you pulled out.
I quit, yeah. It was not fun that day.
Right.
Alan Hatherley, by the way, retained his title of cross-country world mountain bike champion in the men's category with, you've got to say, a very impressive ride.
Oh, it was, yeah.
He dabbled in road racing this year for Jaco Alula, and it doesn't seem to have slowed him down in the end. And then in the women's race, it was Jenny Rissvids of Sweden who took her first senior world title, funnily enough, 9 years after she broke through by winning the Olympics.
That long ago?
Yeah, isn't that mad? Yeah.
Next up, some good news and some bad news for cyclists in Copenhagen. Which one would you like to go with first?
Shall we go with bad news first and end on a positive?
As you wish, Si, as you wish. So the bad news is that Copenhagen has been overtaken by Flanders as the second largest cycling region behind the Netherlands, which is still in top spot.
Presumably that's good news for Flanders.
Absolutely, it is, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
An incredible 1 in 5 journeys in Flanders are now made by bike.
Wow.
They've put the increase down to improved infrastructure, especially in Ghent, Antwerp and Brussels. But their aim is to get that number up to 1 in 3 trips by 2040. And with an annual investment of over 300 million euros, I'm not going to bet against them.
No. Crikey, they mean business, don't they?
They do, yeah.
We should do a little road trip out there, Dan. You can go for the beers and I'll go for the cycling infrastructure.
I'm in.
We can nerd out.
Fantastic.
You can drink beer, I'll nerd out. What's the good news for Copenhagen?
Yes. Well, not to be outdone, Si.
Right.
They have allocated the equivalent of over 80 million euros in Danish kroner to cycling-related projects, the largest investment in the city's history and over 3 times as much as this year, 2025. They're focusing primarily on improving the safety of school routes, interestingly, where they are apparently lagging behind other cities and countries.
I'm not much of a mathematician, Dan, but isn't that quite a lot less than
It is
Flanders
quite a lot less,
investing?
yeah.
Well, how are they going to catch up then?
Well, Copenhagen's one city. Flanders, as we mentioned earlier, includes the likes of Brussels, Ghent, Antwerp and other cities.
I see. So you think on a per capita basis it might work out?
I'm kind of making this up on the spot at this point, just to defend my ground.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, I'm quite surprised that Copenhagen is lacking in any way in its cycling infrastructure.
I was,
given what we think we know about cycling in Copenhagen, but I will take their word for it. Now, moving on, we will head back to the sudden influx of cyclists that happened in London last week.
So the stats for the public hire e-bikes from Lime and Forest were quite staggering, reporting that almost double the number of people as usual hired them and rode them further as well. But as mentioned, there were a lot of column inches devoted to the apparent chaos.
Yeah, cycling traffic jams were one. Regular bike commuters were annoyed that new people were cycling. Not just annoyed, but also scared, frankly, by people at times. And then, well, most people moaned about lawlessness, it would seem, particularly jumping red lights. And then one story in the London Standard even went in with a headline of "The huge surge in cycling accidents."
In that, they reported a 44% increase, which does sound like quite a lot, Si, doesn't it?
Does, yeah.
But what that actually amounted to was 8.
Yes.
So 8 more accidents, apparently.
Yeah. It's funny how there are very few, i.e. no headlines, when there is traffic chaos caused by motor
Oh,
vehicles,
yes.
isn't it?
Well, it's never called anarchic.
No, that's to be fair, yeah.
But maybe that's the point. Bikes are the intersection between pedestrians and vehicles, so we should have more freedom than cars, but still abide by the rules.
Yes. I mean, always abide by the rules, right? Now, some tech news for you this week. Argon 18 have just launched a new aero road bike made kind of in collaboration with the wheel brand Scope.
It's called the Nitrogen Pro, and they're saying it's not a bike designed for wind tunnels, it's a bike designed to be fast in the real world.
Excellent. That's where we want a bike to be fast, isn't it, really? It certainly looks good.
It does look good.
Yeah. Right, we've got a competition for you now. Our friends over at Elite Wheels are giving away a pair of their limited edition Drive 50D 2 wheels.
50 millimetres deep, weighing just 1,300 grams with carbon spokes, ceramic bearings, and a hooked rim design.
Quite the pair of wheels, that. Now, if you would like to enter the competition, then just hit the link in the description. There are 1 or 2 countries where you can't enter from, though, I'm afraid, so just have a little check.
All details are in that link below. I also got some competition winners to announce, I have.
Oh, yeah.
Our Insta360 competition, where you could win one of 2 camera bundles. So congratulations to Aidan Craig and also someone else who didn't want their name read out.
It's not you, is it? You wouldn't have just been a bit embarrassed to have won that one.
If I win anything, Si, I make sure that my name is up in shining lights, as you well know.
You wouldn't shy away from making your own podium in a car park, would you?
No. I sometimes do it at the end of my training rides, in my driveway.
To be fair, you need a medal when you get out training. Although, actually, you said you don't need a medal when you're training at the minute, because you're actually genuinely finding your group rides on Zwift
The group rides, yeah, great.
keeping you honest.
They are, but I'm still struggling to get out the weekend. I didn't get out the weekend, I just did a run.
So what you're saying is I need
Zwift
more
group rides on the
rides.
weekend that I'm sort of held accountable to.
So remind everyone when they can join you on Zwift workouts.
On Tuesday, they're during work hours.
Sorry?
They're during work hours.
It's during workouts, yeah, just to clarify that.
So on Tuesday, it's at 9 a.m. BST, British Summer Time, and on Thursday, 11 a.m. BST. 130 of us last Thursday.
Oh, wow,
Doing a
that's cool.
VO2 max workout. It was quite good. Well, I wouldn't go as far as to say it was fun. It's a VO2 max workout. But the bits in between were fun.
Oh, to be fair,
the
like,
bants.
I'd be down with that. If I wasn't working, I'd be there, 100%.
You did quite a long ride during work hours last Thursday.
Actually, that is a good point.
I'll have to comment on
we
your
had our
Strava.
annual, we actually had 2 group like GCN rides a year, and so yeah, that was Thursday. That was good fun. We got a bit wetter than you did, unfortunately, on Zwift.
Well, I am sweating.
Right, we will finish cycling shorts with a bit of fun, shall we? A bit more fun. This is how Ineos Grenadiers World Tour Pro Ben Swift cleaned up after getting a silver medal at the British Gravel Championships.
Up a little bit.
It is now time for Hack/Bodge of the Week. Bumper edition this week, so I've got 5 instead of 4.
Woohoo!
So we'll crack on. Homer Gayen. But I was getting tired of the cramped quarters inside my camper van, but unfortunately, my trailer hitch can no longer accommodate a bike carrier with my homemade kitchen wooden camping box installed. That's when it dawned on me, why not have both? I could just screw down a fork mount bike rack on top. Now my 2017 Bianchi Specialissima has a designated place and I only have to sleep with the front wheel inside.
That looks pretty cool to me, Dan. So, for those of you listening to this as a podcast, we've got your standard like tow bar or hitch rack on the back, but then on top of it is a giant wooden trunk, which I guess he's just said is full of kitchen. And then bolted on top is a bike rack, which I'm here for.
Yeah?
I think that's wicked.
That's a hack from me.
It's a hack from me as well. I just hope that, you know, when something's bolted through wood, like I'm sure he's thought about how strong it is, but there must be quite a lot of like side forces on a bike mounted like that. You wouldn't want the bolt to pull through the...
Quite a square vintage Volkswagen camper van, isn't it? Maybe most of the air goes over the top.
Maybe, yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed. Okay, can I say hack then?
Hack, yep.
Hack, all right. Aaron sent in this next one. In preparation for a 180-kilometre time trial, yowzers, I needed to add an extra bottle cage to my bike. Are you laughing at me saying yowzers?
No, just 180k time trial.
Okay, yeah, that is
longer
pretty
than the old
punchy, isn't it?
team time trials back at the World Champs, that, isn't it?
Yeah, anyway, his frame has only got the attachment points for 1 bottle. Aaron did not want to take a drill to his 30-year-old steel frame, so instead, he attached the bottle cage with a pair of cable ties, cut them as short as he could, added some additional stability with duct tape. But Aaron says the bottle nicely hid the end of the cable tie and it stayed in place for the 6-hour-long ride.
The bottle is not going to hide that gaffer tape, is it, Si? For listeners rather than viewers, this tape is as luminous yellow as you can possibly imagine.
Yeah. Now, I know what everyone's thinking. It's a zip tie, therefore I'm immediately going to say this is a bodge.
That is what I was thinking, yeah.
But Aaron solved the problem temporarily here with a low-cost and effective fix. It pains me that that was a zip tie, but I can't say anything other than, I mean, that is effectively a hack. And he is at pains to say that he's removed it now.
Do you know what I think is a bodge?
What's that?
180-kilometre time trial.
Yeah.
What's that about?
I don't know.
I've never heard of such a monstrosity.
6-hour time trial. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be up for that. Well, I mean, it is a thing, obviously. Here
More
in
than
the UK,
2 bottles
there's
for
like
that.
12 and 24 hour time trials. But yeah, no, I think I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go with hack as well then, just to be positive for the week. Tom Wildner wrote in to say, this is my third frame. I think we might have seen these frames before, earlier iterations of.
Yeah.
With this frame, I improved the stiffness by increasing top tube size and reducing wall thickness. I used heat expansion silicone cores and external mould to create the tubes, then bonded them together with carbon fibre laps. An integrated seat post clamp, an integrated handlebar completed the build. Frame weighs 1,000 grams, bar and stem 295, and the complete bike is about 7.3 kilos.
Fair play, Tom. I love that you are doing this.
Yeah.
I don't know why you are doing it. I assume it's just because you love making cool
I think
stuff.
I'd do that if I had any chance of being able to do it. It looks really cool, doesn't it?
It looks really, really cool. I'd be interested to know why you are now on your third one. Was it the longevity of the others, or is it just that you wanted to tinker and make some new cool stuff?
I would imagine the latter. I mean, no bike manufacturer stops at their first one. They make improvements, don't they?
Good point. Can I tell you something slightly concerning? Connor bought a kit off eBay that allows you to fix carbon fibre
Oh yeah,
products.
I saw that in the office today.
He's also bought a clearly broken carbon fibre frame. And he, who is possibly the least qualified of all GCN presenters to do anything like that, is gonna try and... Yeah. So, Tom, if you can get in touch and give Connor any tips on how to wield carbon fibre, probably be gratefully received, and it might save him from getting a face full of tarmac.
We'd better check our work insurance covers homemade carbon repairs.
True.
Conducted by Connor Dunn, don't we, before he gets on with it.
I'm not going anywhere near it.
Well, that's a definite hack from me.
Yeah, hack from me. Yeah, amazing.
Martin Rothery said, they say necessity is the mother of invention. I was in need of a bike stand to fix my grandson's bobby bike, so I made one from my many timber offcuts that I've been saving in my garage. Reminds me of my dad, who had so many timber offcuts in the garage. Works perfectly clamped into my workbench. Am I a genius or just a tight Yorkshireman?
I mean, to be fair, it looks pretty neat. I don't know how on earth it works.
I had a metal stand that I bought that went into the workbench like that. That was my first ever bike stand.
Was it?
Yeah, worked well.
That's cool.
Looked not dissimilar.
No, I think that's cool. I'm going to say hack, but I want to know why it's called a bobby bike.
I don't know. I like the fact that he's written bike stand on the bike stand in case there's any confusion or
Well, I mean,
mistakes
he
made.
might just think it's an offcut.
It starts soaring away.
I was going to say it might get used to do something else, whereas if you've written on it, this is a bike stand, you're less likely to, I don't know, accidentally make it into...
How's it actually clamped onto the stand?
I mean, there are many
Is it
things
just
that
resting?
don't make sense.
Just like precariously balancing on there.
That was the issue I had. Anyway.
Did you say that and I wasn't listening?
I mean, I might have done. It's about, yeah.
I'm going to go hack, even though I can't quite see how it's...
Yeah, we've just got to go on trust, haven't we?
There,
Martin is telling the truth. This works. It's all good. So yeah, I'm going to say hack as well.
I like this next one.
Yeah, I like this next one actually. So Helmsley5 said, I love having a super smooth and silent bike. Who doesn't? I mean, I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Alex, how do you feel about having super quiet bikes? Alex came on the GCN group ride on Thursday.
I heard this earlier.
I mean, it was the noisiest rear hub I have ever come across in my life. It was astonishing. Apparently it was something to do with these titanium end caps. Isn't that right? Yeah.
Alex also competed in a 19 to 35 age group at the British Gravel Champs the other day and got overtaken by some very fast 45 to 49-year-olds.
Yeah. Who, interestingly, Alex said smelt better than the juniors that
passed him.
Yeah. It was an interesting conversation. Anyway, we've got slightly lost here. So Helmsley5 said he finds the annoying rattle of a head unit in a worn-out mount particularly pesky. He said blue tack works for a bit, which I'd agree, as does a lump of tissue. Bit gross, but yeah, it definitely works. But I found that one of my daughter's hairbands is a perfect fit. So these are like the little clear hairbands. He says they come in packs of 1,000.
The little blighters.
For next to nout, and they claim to be biodegradable. So you stretch it over the rear of your Garmin or your Wahoo or whatever else, twist it in, and Bob's your uncle. That little bit of clear plastic just takes up enough slack to stop the rattling.
They last for about 4 or 5 mounts and dismounts before degrading. He also said, really sad that Claire's accessories has left the high street.
I hadn't noticed, actually, but yeah.
Well, nobody would until you needed these hairbands to stop a rattle.
Do you know what? I think this is genius, except for the fact that they last 4 or 5 mounts and dismounts. That would annoy me. Like, I mean, it's not horrendous, is it? Like the battery life. You'd be looking at, I don't know, once every couple of months, maybe.
It's fine for me, changing it once a year.
Okay, go on then. Hack?
Oh, definite hack from me, yeah.
Definite hack. All right. Thank you very much for all of your Hacks and Bodge submissions. Have you done the bit about where you can upload it?
globalcyclingnetwork.com/uploader. Why did you decide that tissue was a bit disgusting for you? You immediately just assumed it's going to be used tissue.
I mean, immediately, yeah, that did cross my mind that might imply that I would have used used tissue.
Yeah.
But there's just something about, like, particularly in the UK where it's often wet, like if you then remove your hedge unit and you find like a soggy bit of tissue stuck to your bike, like it's not really in keeping with the whole like high-tech carbon fibre, and then just like...
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Take your point.
Yeah, I'd rather have a hairband. It's time now for Caption Competition, that part of the show where you get a chance to get your hands on a coveted GCN Camelback water bottle. All you got to do is put a witty caption in the comment section down below that relates to a photo we will give you in just 1 second after the results.
This was the photo that we gave you last week. 3 of the Tudor Pro cycling riders signing on at the Tour of Britain. In the middle, Jules Alaphilippe, spoiler alert, winner of a big one-day race in Canada in Quebec last Friday.
That was a nice return to form, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. First one-day win in 2.5 years for Alaphilippe, believe it or not. Anyway, he's got a Geraint Thomas mask on. Our winner this week is Mitch Hollander 13. But Caption Competition, I need to do this right, so. That ain't Thomas.
Sorry, what?
That ain't Thomas.
Oh, I see. Like Geraint Thomas, but that ain't Thomas. Yeah. Got it, Mitch?
Well done, Mitch.
That was great, yeah, well done. I think the problem was the delivery.
I thought that was all right. Right, this week's photo comes from backstage at the Grand Prix Montreal, won by Brandon McNulty. Quinn Simmons is there in his US Champs jersey, eating a bit of pizza. I will get you started. Quinn, could you just describe your post-race recovery meal for us? Sure, pizza cake.
Oh, that is terrible. You know what, looking at him sat there with his incredible mullet, tash thing, he doesn't look like your quintessential pro cyclist right there, does he? Like, clearly he is, because he's just got third at GP Montreal.
He's a beast on a bike, that's for sure.
He is indeed, yeah. I admire that look. I think it's very cool.
He's got nice Lidl trainers on.
You should maybe go for a mullet like that, mate. You've had a lot of different hairstyles over the years, but you've never had a mullet.
I've stuck with the same one now for about 10.
No, I think not that long.
Not far off.
Really?
Yeah, must be about 8. I've got to the point where I'm just going to leave it until it comes back into fashion.
Okay. Are you sure you don't want a mullet? I mean, that would be funny.
I had a mullet 20 years ago. I should have left that when I waited for that to come back into fashion. I remember I had one when I met Lorraine 20 years ago. Anyway, we're going off topic again. Leave your caption in the comment section down below. You
managed to lure your wife when you had a mullet.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Says a lot about your personality, doesn't it?
Yeah. Right, well, that's the end of that part of the show. Just before we let you know what's coming up on GCN this week, a few comments from last week's videos. Starting with these underneath the GCN show. Taylor, the 314 T5, but I only do long, slow riding, but that's because I'm crap.
Well, I mean, I think that's quite amusing, but the long bit, that's impressive. Can't be crap if you're doing long bike rides. Bluey Hills said, stop going on about your age. Neither of you are that old, so make the most of it. I mean, I think we are making the most of it, aren't we?
I guess we just feel old because of our colleagues being younger.
Yeah.
Carl Nelson, if riding slower makes you faster, I should have a great shot at winning the Tour next year.
Yeah, nice. Tattooed Fred said, I do short, slow training, and so far it's paying off. I'm still slow, just as planned.
And finally, no, not finally, actually, got 2 more. Bergen Nicholas, but to be fair, at least in Switzerland and Austria, more people get hurt or even killed by cows than sharks. Stats don't lie.
No, they don't.
They're landlocked countries, are they?
Well, I mean, they are, but still, like, doesn't mean that cows aren't dangerous. But then this one I thought was interesting. Andrew Olsen, Sai needs to collab with the Hoof GP on a video of what to do when you encounter cows on a bike ride.
You up for that?
Yeah, in principle. In principle. I mean, as long as the Hoof GP says turn and run, or turn and ride as fast as possible, no, it's not safe to go through a field of cows because they're potentially lethal killers. So, but I'll do some research, find out what the Hoof GP says. Okay. One of my good friends is a bovine vet,
right?
Who specialises in cows.
And you've never thought to sought advice?
Well, do you know what? One of my abiding memories is of said friend riding through a field. We were mountain biking in the Alps 20 years ago this summer, and there was a bull in one corner of the field, and he was like, "It'll be fine, mate." And off he set down through his field, and this bull went absolutely freaking mental. And I was like, I stood on the other side of the electric fence watching this unfold, and I could just see that they were going to intersect. Anyway, to be fair to Ed, he's a big lad, and he sprinted down through his field, and I've never seen anything like it. He just slid the bike down and went underneath the electric fence.
No.
Yeah, on his side as this bull just was screeched to a halt. But then the bull was in the corner where the path went. So I spent about 3/4 of an hour climbing through a gully in order that I didn't have to go through.
Was this the start of your fear of cows?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I might have to talk to Ed about that and tell him that he's got something to answer for. Okay. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, or the Hoof GP. He'll do instead.
Meanwhile, under what happens when real people try cargo bikes, bike rides. But I'm here for global cargo bike conspiracy.
Yeah. Watch out for that. So there. Neil Penskoll. The sad reality is seeing how governments are subsidising buying an expensive electric vehicle, but if you want a cargo bike to replace a car, most countries don't give any benefits, at least where I live. This is a tricky one, but it was something pointed out to me actually whilst making that video. Here in the UK, if you are a salaried employee, then the bike to work scheme can potentially get you quite a big chunk off an electric cargo bike, potentially more than a subsidy off an electric vehicle. So there are actually subsidies out there. I don't know where you're from, Niels, but yeah.
Worth looking into.
Yeah, it is worth looking into.
Mixo Deficto puts... People give some very complicated names to read out, don't they? Sickest electric cargo bike drift entrance I've ever seen. Gets better the more times you watch it.
Thanks. It's actually the second best skid intro I've ever done on an e-cargo bike.
Is it?
Yeah, there was a better one before, but...
I think this is proof that skids aren't just for kids, they're also for middle-aged people.
Right. And then there was good few comments on your Zwift on a budget video, Dan. Tammy Morse said the Zwift bike has made it possible for both my husband and I to train indoors in inclement weather. We haven't used it much over recent months because we've been able to ride outdoors, but as the season changes, it will begin getting more use again. No regrets here, having invested in it.
That's good to hear.
And then some banging comments under Exoskeleton, Connor's video where he cheats at cycling. Yeah.
Curly Fry films, but they restrict e-bikes to 25 kilometres per hour, but nature found a way. They can't restrict our legs.
There were one or two people genuinely going like, oh God, this is going to ruin Strava now. I don't think it's going to ruin Strava. Matt Deck, Feather needs to ride him and see what difference it makes to his time.
Yeah.
We should maybe strap a pair to Andrew Feather. What we could do is, because Connor said he needs to do a time trial in them, Andrew Feather is rubbish at time trials on the flat. We should maybe give him to Feather to see if it can actually get him to ride at a reasonable speed.
Matt Warbuckle, but Ollie's disgust is joyously wonderful. I agree with you. Whilst Daily Cun put Ollie's impression of Wallace 100% on point. I thought that was great as well.
It was
a good impression.
Very good.
I wouldn't tell Ollie that, and he doesn't watch the show, but...
Fantastic. Right, all that's left to be said now, Dan, is just what's coming up on the show.
Starting with Thursday, on the channel this week, on Thursday, all training trends evaluated. Which ones actually work? There are a lot of different training trends.
There are. Connor's been doing some really interesting research, actually. He's been talking to some very interesting people, not just World Tour team coaches. There's a guy that's got probably the oldest AI coaching business in cycling. He's asked him, as well as Mr. Common Sense coach himself, who, I've got all the time in the world for. So that'll be super interesting. And then on Saturday, the Canyon Enduro Race All Road broke the internet when it came out earlier in this year because of how value-packed it is, coming in at less than £1,000, €1,000. So we went to see whether it could survive the UK's fastest group ride.
And then finally on Sunday, how would you describe this video? So I haven't thought of the title for it yet, have we? We basically got a few colleagues at work to do a test, and then 1 week later a test again, and in the middle we gave them some performance-enhancing supplements.
Well, what we've discovered is that there is a pill, a tablet, that can give you a 15% performance
and it's
improvement.
legal as well,
it's completely legal, it's completely safe, it's available to everyone, and yet it's pretty bonkers that genuinely, the science is there. So yeah, I can't wait for people to see that video. It's going to be wicked.
Great stuff. Right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.